on the song sheets, Or Zarua. It starts bum biddy bum 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 bum biddy bum. Make sure they get that over their tongue. Bum biddy bum bum biddy bum bum biddy bum. Make sure the people over there have please. Bum biddy bum bum biddy bum bum biddy bum bum. Second part. Yabadai, 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 yabadabadabadabadai. Let's try that. Yabadai, 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 yabadabadabadabadai. Yabadai, yabadai, yabadai. So if you feel very strongly that bum biddy bum is right in your wheelhouse, then you can stick to bum biddy bum biddy bum biddy bum biddy bum biddy bum biddy bum. Yes, and or you can do the yabadai with me. Let's try it together, starting with the bum biddy bums. Everybody, bum biddy 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 bum. I keep going. Bum biddy 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 bum. Yabadai, 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 yabadabadabadabadai. Yabadai, 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 yabadabadabadabadai. Or Zarua. Or Zarua la tzadik uyishei lev simcha. Bum biddy bum. Or Zarua la tzadik uyishei lev simcha. Bum biddy 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 bum. Yabadai, 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 yabadabadabadabadai. Yabadai, 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 yabadabadabadabadai. Or Zarua la tzadik uyishei lev simcha. Or Zarua la tzadik uyishei lev simcha. Bum biddy 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 bum bums. So those words, Or Zarua la tzadik ulishrei lev simcha, light is sown for the righteous and joy for the upright of heart. We're going to transition into Tisha B'Av by engaging with Havdalah, the ritual of separation. So we're separating not only Shabbat from the rest of the week, but Shabbat from this day of sadness, of heaviness, right? We've gone from Shabbat joy to remembrance to feeling deeply. We're going to start first with a traditional Sephardic song called Buena Semana. It's for Havdalah. You'll find it again on your sheets, the same side as the Or Zarua. So it goes like this. Buena semana mos del Dios. Try that. Buena semana hemos te dio, buena semana hemos te dio. The third time it goes, buena semana hemos te dio, salud y vida. Try that. Buena semana hemos te dio, salud y vida. Buena semana hemos te dio, salud y vida. Buena semana, from there. Buena semana hemos te dio, salud y vida. Try that whole thing. Buena semana hemos te dio, buena semana hemos te dio, buena semana hemos te dio, salud y vida. Buena semana hemos te dio, salud y vida. Que mis fillos vengan al cal, que mis fillos vengan al cal para maldar la Torah, salud y vida. Para maldar la Torah, salud y vida. Para maldar con talesim, para maldar con talesim, para traer los tefilín, salud y vida. Para traer los tefilín, salud y vida. Buena semana, buena semana hemos te dio, buena semana hemos te dio, buena semana hemos te dio, salud y vida. Buena semana hemos te dio, salud y vida. המבדיל בין קודש לחול. יאי לי, יא לה 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 לה, יאי לי, יא לה 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 לה, יא לה 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 לה, יא לה לה לה, יא לה לה, יאי לי, לה 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 לה, יאי לי, יא לה 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 לה, יא לה 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 לה, יא לה לה לה, יא לה לה. המבדיל בין קודש לחול, חטאותינו ימחול, זרענו וכספנו ירבה כחול, וככוכבים בלילה. שבוע טוב, 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 שבוע טוב. A good week, a week of peace, may gladness reign and joy increase. A good week, a week of peace, may gladness reign and joy increase. Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi, Bimheira v'yameinu, Yavo Eleinu, Im Mashiach ben David, Im Mashiach ben David. Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi. Ooh, open your eyes slowly.
We can't do it slow.
Yeah, we can't do like a gradual. So,
Save money on that.
does everyone also have the stapled handout? Okay,
I didn't want them to have too many papers.
perfect.
All right, so I'll take the Havdalah if you don't want. Okay, no, I don't want. Wow, that was real.
So, as we're passing this out, we're going to begin Tisha B'Av by singing a psalm that is traditional for the day. It's Psalm 137, verse 1. The setting here is by William Billings, written in 1780. So a very old melody, but very beautiful. So we're going to learn it first as a nigun, and then we'll add the text. So while you're passing out, we can still do it as a nigun. Sorry, I'm doing it as a nigun. Try that. The whole thing. So it goes like this. Al naharot, al naharot, al naharot, Bavel. Try that. al naharot, al naharot, al naharot Bavel. Sham yashavnu, yashavnu, gam bachinu. Sham, sham yashavnu, yashavnu, gam bachinu. Bezochreinu, bezochreinu, bezochreinu et Zion. Bezochreinu, bezochreinu, bezochreinu et Zion. Al naharot, al naharot, al naharot, al naharot, al naharot Bavel. Sham yashavnu, yashavnu, gam bachinu. Bezochreinu, bezochreinu, bezochreinu et Zion. Al naharot, al naharot, al naharot Bavel. Sham yashavnu, yashavnu, gam bachinu. Bezochreinu, bezochreinu, bezochreinu et Zion. In English, by the waters of Babylon. Let's try that. By the waters of Babylon, we lay down and wept for thee, Zion. Try that. We lay down and wept for thee, Zion. We remember thee, remember thee, remember thee, Zion. We remember thee, remember thee, remember thee, Zion. By the waters of Babylon, we lay down and wept for thee, Zion. We remember thee, remember thee, remember thee, Zion. Al naharot, al naharot, al naharot, al naharot Bavel. Sham yashavnu, yashavnu, gam bachinu. Bezochreinu, bezochreinu, bezochreinu et Zion. In English, by the waters of Babylon, we lay down and wept for thee, Zion. We remember thee, remember thee, remember thee, Zion.
So this begins. This time before Rosh Hashanah, your awareness of how close or how much of the departure of your life is from what God intended for us. Are you satisfied with your lives? Are you startled by a disintegration of values in our world, our country, or perhaps that's not it at all? Sarah Silverman, the wonderful Jewish comedian, once observed a person who had so many bad roommates in their lives. Sarah Silverman suggested perhaps she didn't have all those bad roommates. Perhaps she was the bad roommate. So today we reflect on the destruction of the first temple by Nebuchadnezzar and the Babylonians, the second temple by the Romans, and many other atrocities that have been attributed to have occurred or began on Tisha B'Av. But today for us, Tisha B'Av represents the loss of this connection and the calamity that comes in the wake of this loss. Tisha B'Av is not simply the tragedy of that destruction, but all the calamities that preceded it and all the calamities that followed it. We think on Tisha B'Av of unresolved tendencies and the unconscious wrong turns we keep taking, leading our spiritual paths back to where we are at this very moment. We regard the 9th of Av and the weeks surrounding it to be a cursed time, reminding us that catastrophes will keep reoccurring in our lives as long as we are exiled and alienated from our God and from others and from the values that we are supposed to be upholding in our lives each and every day. This becomes a moment of an opportunity where we can examine the unresolved elements of our lives, the unconscious patterns, the same problems that seem to arise again and again, no matter what we try and do, what we think we should do, they carry us in harm's way over and over again. It's at this moment that we resolve to become aware. This is why in this week's Torah portion this morning, Moses retells about the scouts that went into the land 38 years ago to scout out the land and to provide a report that would lead the Israelites back into the promised land. But this is a second version. It's told differently. Moses realizes that the Israelites are in the same spiritual place today as they were 38 years ago. This is their moral predicament with all its unresolved issues. Where in the first telling the spies were guilty, in today's story, the people listening are murmuring when they hear the report. The guilt is on them and not on those spies. It's easy to lay blame on others. The evil is always on external causes, but our spiritual being understands the responsibility is not someone else's, but it's ours. In the face of destruction, we are called to act. We cannot affect what has happened. We do not know what the future will bring, but we can ask, what is the recurring disaster in our life? What is the unresolved element that keeps me returning to the same mistakes? What is it that we keep getting wrong?
So we're going to begin with the chanting of Eicha, Lamentations. We have two wonderful chanters who will be joining me in just a moment. But first, the blessing can be found. It's number 2 on your sheet. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al mikra Megillah. And now I'd like to invite up Margie Kendall to lead us in chapter 1 of Eicha.
Eicha yashva vadad ha'ir rabati am hayta ke'almana rabati bagoyim sarati b'medinot hayta lamas Bachotivke balayla v'dimata ahalecheya ein la menachem mikol ohavecha kol recha bohuk duva hayula le'oivim galta Yehuda me'oni u'me'rov avodah hi yashva v'goyim lo matzah manoach כל רודפיך השיגוך בין המצרים. דרכי ציון באבלות, מבלי באי מועד, כל שעריך שוממים, כהניך נאנחים, בתולתך נוגות, והיא מרלה.
So I'd like to invite up Jeanette Schall to help lead us in Eicha chapter 4. We've chosen very specific parts of Eicha, and you'll find out soon why.
Davak lashon yonei eliko batama olalim sha'alu lahem pores ein lahem haochlim lama'adanim nashamu bahutzot ha'emun nim al tola habiko ashpato hashak mishor ta'oram lo nikaru habutzot zafad oram al atma yava hayako ha'etz tovam hayom halele heref mahalele brahav shahem yazuvu medukarim mitnuvot sadai.
Thank you. I want to commend both of them even more because they were part of my High Holy Day cantillation class today. So we've got all of the tropes swirling in our brains. This is the fourth trope system we've heard today. So I'll continue now from Eicha chapter 5 through verse 20. Dekeni mishar shavatu bachurim min ginata. No, did I just do High Holy Day? Yeah, I did. Sorry. Nope, that's still High Holy Day. Sorry, give me 1 second. Thank you. Zakeni mishar shavatu bachurim min ginatam shavat mesos libenu nepach le'evel mecholenu nafla ateret roshenu oy nalanu ki chatanu al zeh hayadaveh libenu al ele chasechu einenu al har Tzion sheshamem shu'alim hilchu vo. Ata Adonai leolam teshev kis'acha ledor vador. Lama lanetzach tishkachenu ta'azvenu le'orech yamim.
As you just heard, if you were paying very close attention, the book of Lamentations, which we just heard chanted so beautifully, is a Megillah. The blessing was over reading a Megillah. I know when you hear the word Megillah, you think Purim. Let's see. So this is, in the secular calendar, August, month number 8. Purim is often in February, half a year between them. This Megillah is the polar opposite of Esther. Esther is, it's a whole lot of things, but it has its humorous aspects, and certainly when we celebrate it, we are joyful and all sorts of fun and games and mishigas goes on. Tisha B'Av is very sad, terribly solemn. And it reminds us of siege, war, exile, and loss. The very opposite of Purim. I wanted to focus this evening on the idea of what happens as a result of siege. Are we all clear as to what a siege is? Anybody want to take a stab at that? What is a siege? It's not merely an attack. What? Swarming? No. That's right. A siege is what happens when an attacking army surrounds, in biblical times, a city and does not allow anything to go in terms of supplies, and nobody is allowed to come out. And eventually, if the siege goes as it should be, the attacking army will starve the populace into submission. If you look at your next text from 2 Kings, the last chapter, 25.
It's on page 3, number 6.
Thank you. Number 6 in your sources. And in the 9th year of his reign, on the 10th day of the 10th month, Nebuchadnezzar moved against Jerusalem with his whole army. He besieged it. We think of Jerusalem, the old city, it's a walled city. So the Babylonian army is all around, surrounding the city. He besieged it, and they built towers against it all around. The city continued in a state of siege until the 11th year of King Tzidkiyahu. By the 9th day of the 4th month, the famine had become acute in the city. There was no food left for the common people. And if you just flip your text sheet over, we just read from Lamentations chapter 4, and we are talking here about thirst, about hunger, about people becoming so thin that their skin shrivels on their bones. Better off were the slain of the sword than those slain by famine, who pined away as though wounded for lack of the fruits of the field. That is what a siege does. In our tradition, we have a way of interpreting Torah that we call midrash. I think probably most of you are aware of midrash and have probably read some of it. Among the midrashim, we have Midrash Rabbah, the big midrash. And there is a book of midrash for each of the 5 books of the Torah, and another book of midrash for each of the 5, yes, 5 Megillot, 5 scrolls. So there is a midrash on Echa, a midrash on Lamentations. A British author, Chaim Raphael, put out a book called The Walls of Jerusalem, in which he selects and rearranges by theme parts of Echa Rabbah, Echa Rabbati, actually, I think it is, the midrash on Echa. And he reads about the famine using verses from Echa as a starter for elaboration. All her people sigh, they seek bread. Can you hear me now? All the people sigh, they seek bread. They have given their pleasant things for meat to refresh the soul. For the men of Judah, there was bread. This was during the first destruction, the Babylonian destruction. But in the second destruction by the Romans, now we have moved from 2 Kings and Lamentations to more recent history with the Roman destruction of the temple. In the second destruction, all her people sigh, they seek bread. In the beginning, they would lower to the besiegers a basket of gold and receive in return a basket of wheat. Later, they would lower a basket of gold and receive in return a basket of barley. Later still, when they lowered a basket of gold, they received in return a basket of straw. What did they do with the straw? They boiled it and drank the juice. Finally, when they lowered a basket of gold, they received nothing in return. Story is told of Martha, the daughter of, I never knew how to pronounce this, it looks like Bethus, whom Judah, the son of Gamla, married. The king appointed him to be high priest, and once she came to the temple to see the service, saying, I will go and see him while he is reciting the scripture in the temple on Yom Kippur. Carpets were spread for her from the door of her house to the door of the temple, in order that she should not have to walk on the bare ground. When Joshua, her husband, died, she received basically a pension. I won't go into the details. And now, said Rabbi Elazar ben Rabbi Tzadok, may I not live to see the consolation if I did not see this. The Romans had bound her hair to the tails of their horses and made her run from Jerusalem to Lod. The next passage chosen is about a woman who had been very wealthy and was reduced to gathering barley, grains of barley, from the hooves of horses. And then a woman who had no food and killed her son and ate him. There is reference in this midrash to chapter 28 of Deuteronomy, a chapter which, let's do this easily. Does this come out? There we go. Much better. There's a reference in this midrash to Deuteronomy chapter 28, which probably few of you, clergy excluded, have read. And you have never heard it read out loud in synagogue. Why? It is a series of curses. If you don't obey Adonai, your God, as a people, these things will happen to you, and they are horrible. When this comes up in the weekly Parsha, it is read in a whisper, not out loud. And in the distribution of aliyot within the passages, our sages made sure not to assign this entire chapter to any one person, lest that person be cursed. So we have a history of reading about terrible things that can happen, and in our midrash on Echa, of some of them coming true. Think about sieges. The siege of Jerusalem by the Babylonians, the siege of Jerusalem by the Romans, and there have been other sieges through history. Shakespeare gave us one in Henry V, Harfleur, when King Henry besieges a walled city, a walled town in France, and breaks the spirit of the people enough that they surrender. Recent siege, Sarajevo. Remember what happened in Sarajevo during the Bosnian War? It was besieged by what was then Yugoslavia and then became Serbia, and the weapons had changed. Now, it wasn't necessary to gather to surround the city itself. The besieging army could be in the hills and mountains around the city and fire from there. Do you remember the stories day after day, the reports of people lining up in the market to buy food and being picked off by the sharpshooters? I remember it well. Which leads me, and here we can do a little bit of discussion. Our weapons now include not only artillery, also missiles and drones. Is Gaza in a state of siege? Comments? You're nodding your head. I'm going to speak to that. Remember, nothing is supposed to go in, no one is supposed to come out. That isn't exactly the situation in Gaza. Any other comments? Is Gaza in a state of siege? Anybody? I see people nodding their heads. Andy? So starvation, even if there is food, people can't get to it. And there are reports, and given who's reporting and what people have seen, there are reports, just like what happened in Sarajevo, of people trying to get food who are being shot by someone. Marcia? I can't hear you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, yes. Are we? Oh, we are. Um, Marcia talks about what is happening in Ukraine as people try to survive the war there. Um, a siege really is when the people being besieged do not have the means to fight back. So in Ukraine, that's not really the case. And God willing, it will never be the case. Anyone else? Is Gaza under siege? You think so? We have two back there. The person in front. Hmm? Helmut. Oh, we met a few weeks back. Yes. Helmut doesn't think that they are under siege, but on the other hand, we're comfortable here in Tucson and we aren't in the situation. And we might think differently. Steve? Steve says that siege is probably the correct word. Israel on the east and the north, Egypt in the south, and the sea in the west. Sure, Simon has.
Again, we're not there. We're thousands of miles away. But based on what I believe to be legitimate reporting, Israel has allowed into Gaza multiple thousands of tons of food. The question is, who is preventing the distribution? Is it Hamas? Is it the UN? Is it some of the independent agencies? We don't know. So as Steve said, from the perspective of a Gazan, it doesn't matter whether it's technically a siege or not. They are living under those conditions. Remember that the political leaders of Hamas are in Qatar. They're not in Gaza. They're, living it up. So it's a technicality that we're, sort of debating here. But if you were in Gaza, yeah, you're under siege.
Thank you, Simon. So, a few questions arise for us here. We are comfortable in Tucson. Is there a siege? Are we concerned about it? I'm sure we're all concerned about it. Do we personally, taking it to a personal interior level, are there times, even now perhaps, when you feel besieged, when you have hungers that you don't know how to satisfy, when you thirst for something? And how can you break out of your personal sieges, if you have them? How can you help others with their feelings of being besieged? Eicha can inspire in us all sorts of thoughts about history, about responsibility, and about our personal welfare, though we are far away from any state of siege in military practice.
Thank you. And just one more comment, if you'll allow it. It's I think a very, okay. It's a normal and should be normalized that you can care about people's well-being, no matter who they are, and still love Israel, and still be worried about Israel continuing to exist, and the news media, and also, you can be critical and also supportive and also angry. The hostages are still suffering as well, and Israel didn't start it, but at the same time, these Palestinians did not deserve to, all these innocent people have not deserved to be the victims of something that is a war between Israel and Hamas, not the Palestinian people.
Thank you all.
So just briefly, I want to take us in a slightly different direction. Is this maybe on? Yeah, there we go. Okay. So Rabbi Tuckman's idea of being besieged and really ultimately destroyed. I talked at the very beginning about the destruction of the first and second temple. They were besieged and they were destroyed. And that was, for the Jews at the time, the navel, the center of the universe for the Jewish people at the time. It was the earthly center where Israel felt its ultimate connection with God, and that was besieged and completely destroyed. And what also is connected by Jewish thinkers is all the other destructions that Jews have faced throughout history. And so I just want to touch on this for a minute and just ask you for a moment why there is this association that the rabbis created. I don't want to say they created, but they observed the association of all these other destructions. So the destruction of the first temple in 586 by Nebuchadnezzar, the destruction of the second temple by the Romans in 70 of the Common Era, the fall of Betar at the end of Bar Kokhba revolt against the Romans 62 years later, 132 CE. The Jews expelled from England in 1290, the Jews expelled from Spain in 1492, the beginning of World War I, the Jews having to enter the Warsaw Ghetto in 1942, all attributed to be on Tisha B'Av. So my question for you is, why? Let's say that's all true. Those all happened on Tisha B'Av. Why do we have this recollection every Tisha B'Av that all these destructions took place on Tisha B'Av? What do the rabbis want you to be thinking about when they remind you of all these, not just the first and second temple, but all these other besiegements and destructions that occurred to the Jewish people? Who's got a thought about that? Andy? So the aftermath is not a destruction, actually, but there is a rebirth in a different manner, maybe. Okay, so one of the things they want you to think of is we're faced with a lot of terrible obstacles and terrible things we see as destructive in our lives, and these are reminders to us that that we weren't destroyed by them. and hopefully that's true of the Palestinians as well, that after this siege is over, however we want to define it, that the Palestinians will be able to rebuild and have a place as neighbors to Israel, in this promised land for both people. Okay, great. So the rabbis also do one other thing. They make Tisha B'Av a little more personal, and this is what I was alluding to with my reading at the very beginning. The Talmud explains to us that the destruction of the temple was because of baseless hatred for one another. And so they wanted us to rededicate ourselves, kind of a rebirth. They wanted us to rededicate ourselves to a new relationship with these people who we have baseless hatred against, but also with God as well. So this is the rabbis not looking at an overall destruction that occurs from time to time historically to the Jewish people and to other people, but also personally that there is a breaking of relationships, and maybe we can learn from those broken relationships that there's something that we can learn from that, and we can improve upon in our relationships, and we won't hate people the same way. So I want for you all just quickly pick up this prayer book, turn to page 14, and there's a prayer in here you're all familiar with. Who can tell me what prayer is on page 14? It's the Shema, and what's below the Shema? V'ahavta. So there's something really weird about the V'ahavta that only Margie knows and maybe a couple other people know. So, Margie, will you do me a favor? You don't have to chant this. Can you read the V'ahavta and stop at the end of Levavecha?
Right there? Or
Oh, keep going.
ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך.
Good. Okay. Are we? Oh, we are. Okay. You're just so soft-spoken. Okay. So the very so you shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, soul, with all your might, and these are the words which I command you. Where should these words end up? Where should they end up? Fran? Why on your heart? You don't want them on your heart. You want them in your heart, right? And what's the point of them being on your heart? So why does the Hebrew say these commandments are going to be on your heart? How did they get in your heart? This is a correct translation, Fran. So you want the commandments to be in your heart, but the Hebrew says, I'm going to put them on your heart. Why are they on your heart? Cantor.
Maybe by letting down your own walls to allow them to come in.
So how do you, okay, so the wall, I'm translating your commentary.
Go for it.
So the wall is your heart muscle. So somehow you got to break open your heart muscle. Because some people have their heart hardened. So, God is not forcing you to learn these commandments, to know these commandments, to embody these commandments. But I can guarantee you, when your heart is broken and you allow it to open up, that you learn things you didn't know before your heart was broken. So I'll give you one example. You can think of your own. My dad died. I'm going to start crying. My dad died in April 2020 during the pandemic. He didn't die of the pandemic. He had another medical condition. Number one, I got a lot of emails from rabbis across the country who I know offering me condolences. Only 2 rabbis in the entire country actually called me on the phone. And those 2 rabbis were not Reform rabbis. They were not conservative rabbis. But they were 2 of the Orthodox rabbis in Tucson, Arizona. Rabbi Shem Tov and Rabbi Becker are the only rabbis who picked up the phone and called me when my dad died. So I expressed my appreciation to Rabbi Shem Tov, lovely call. Rabbi Becker, who I'm close to both of them, but really close to Rabbi Becker. So he offered his condolences to me after my dad's funeral. And as he was about to depart from the call, I said, "Can I ask you something?" He said, "Sure." I said, "I think I've been living a lie for close to 40 years as a rabbi." And he said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "It wasn't until I lost my dad that I really understood the emotion of the loss of someone who's close to me." And he laughed because he said, "I lived the same lie." I mean, when his dad died, he understood for the first time the emotional break, the emotional devastation that all the families that he has comforted over the years, what they were really going through. And it took that break in my heart to really understand that emotional connection to people in my community, all my congregants for 40 years, who I served and hopefully comforted to the best of my ability, but I didn't really understand till my heart broke open. So this idea of observing Tisha B'Av, and I'm so happy that you all are here. Happy is not the right word to use on Tisha B'Av. I apologize for that. But I thank you all who are at home joining us, and those of you who are here, because hopefully from Rabbi Tuckman and from Cantor Ben Ray and myself, that you understand how important the observance of this Memorial Day is, not just to remember the history, not just to remember all the histories, but maybe to think of your own brokenness and your broken relationships and the mistakes that you've made, that it'll open up your heart so that God's commandments and values will be a part of who you are for Andy's rebirth, this rekindling, of this spark of the divine that can come to us so that we can move forward and know that we can always move forward. So nothing will ever be so devastating that it's going to stop you forever. It may stop you for a moment. You may mourn and grieve at whatever loss you're facing, but our history reminds us that there is a tomorrow where the day will dawn and that we'll be able to continue better than we were the day before.
So another thing just we wanted to touch on this Tisha B'Av was, with all of this destruction in our history, that there is this feeling of to an extent, hopelessness. And for, so many reasons in our lives now, it feels like our world is crashing around us and we don't know what to do. And also, what Rabbi Lachheim was saying, that there will be a light at the end of the tunnel. When I worked this summer at the Creative Arts Academy Jewish Sleepaway Camp, the 6 Points URJ camp, the theme of camp was "Those who sow in tears will reap in joy," from our Psalms. And there were a number of different interpretations, but one way to look at it is that, as you're living and moving forward through life, and you're surrounded, by all of this sadness, there will be a break. It never remains sad forever. There will always be something to lift you up. We don't appreciate good things unless we experience sadness, the same way that we don't appreciate the sad things without having some sort of joy, right? And through all of it, even in the sad things, and it's harder to be spiritual sometimes in the sad. It's harder to pray when you're going through things that are hard, right? And also, when we are going through those things, when we are most vulnerable, that's when we are most open to receive God. So as you continue now through the remainder of your Tisha B'Av, and also just continuing day by day, just remember to breathe, know that things will get better, and think about where you're at, what you can do, and where is God through this, and how can God help support you and your support systems too. So what we'd really liked for you to do, if you'll indulge us, please, we don't want everyone to leave on a downer, as much as the day is a down day. In the spirit of things will get better, we want you, in your own wisdom, with your own personal Torah, to share with us on these cue cards, and we also have pens. If you'll write bits of wisdom and or prayers to help people get through hard times. So we're going to ask you to, once you write these down, as we're going through this, as the world kind of collapses around us, how do you get through day by day? What advice can you give to others? So after we write these down, we're going to share them. And at the end, we're going to mix them up, put them each in an envelope, and you're going to walk away with this little bit of wisdom that'll help carry you through your days as well, inspired by each other's wisdom. So take a moment now. Oh.
I was never good at math.
Does everyone have?
Yeah.
In the corner as well? You guys have? when you're done, if any of you would like to share, please feel free to raise your hand and share some of that wisdom with us.
I wrote what I said to my son.
Sorry, is the mic on?
I think it is. Wrote to my son-in-law when he lost his sister. She took her own life. And I wrote, "May beautiful memories comfort you. I hope there will be a time when memories turn the tears into smiles and into joy."
Thank you. Beautiful. Anybody else want to share? Okay.
Mine was very simple. Create gratitude, stay in the present, and love.
Beautiful. Short and sweet.
I actually already put mine in the envelope because I thought it was stupid, but when it comes to suffering your own, unfortunately, the only thing you can do is, it stinks. It stinks right now. Just acknowledge that the only way out is through. Someone else's, acknowledge that for right now, their life stinks. The only way out is through. Make sure they have the means of getting through it.
Thank you.
Always have a safe place to put your soul.
Always have a safe place to put your soul.
Safe place for your soul.
Yeah.
A very famous person once said, "Love is giving until it hurts."
Thank you. Anyone else want to share those out loud? Okay. Well, we'll all be walking away with a bit of wisdom to help us move forward. And so even in Eicha, with all of this mourning and sadness, there is a little bit of a nechemta, something that uplifts and is wistful. The line that is right after the portion that I read in chapter 5 is the line that we sing for the High Holy Days. Hashivenu Adonai Elecha v'nashuva chadesh yameinu kekedem. Take us back, O Lord, to yourself, and let us come back. Renew our days as of old. So we wanted to close now for the first time as we make our way into the High Holy Day season. The month of Elul is not exactly around the corner, but close enough, too close as clergy. And just kind of set our hearts and our intentions towards renewal and hope. Hashivenu, Hashivenu, Adonai Elecha, V'nashuva, Kadesh, Kadesh, Yameinu Kekedem. Hashivenu, 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 Adonai Elecha, V'nashuva, V'nashuva, Kadesh, Kadesh,
So this almost concludes our Tisha B'Av memorial. As you depart, take an envelope from me. It won't be your blessing. It'll be someone else's blessing that they wrote this evening. So just take it, and maybe it'll open up your heart and touch you with a special blessing as you continue toward Rosh Hashanah and the new year.
I want to give a special thank you to Rabbi Paul Tuckman and Rabbi Tom Lachheim for sharing with us their wisdom and their spirits this evening and helping to make this holiday so much more meaningful. So, and thank you all for being